Hello, Miss Gracia, and everybody who's seen this video. Today I will talk about the production and consume of biodiesel focused in Latin America. So now I'm with my expert who is my teacher in renewable energies and have PhD, Victoria Cortez.
Nice to meet you.
So, hello. So to begin my interview, I want to know what is your main definition of biodiesel?
Okay, there is a difference between biofuels and biodiesel. Biodiesel is specifically the fuel that we can get from the transesterification of oils and fats. So we can transform the oils and fats into a fuel that we can use instead of a diesel, of a fossil diesel. Okay? But the biofuel word covers different kinds of fuels that we can use it, and that the main of the feedstock that we can use, for example, for this production is specifically organic renewable matter. For example, wastes. We can have from wastes we can produce, for example, biogas, that is a biofuel.
Yes.
We can have, for example, from carbohydrates, we can have, for example, the bioethanol, that is also a biofuel. And we can have from the oils and fats, we can produce the biodiesel.
Okay. So are you telling me that biofuel is a more general word that involves biodiesel and another kind of food?
That's right.
My second question is, what do you think about the popularity and consume and use of biofuel in Latin America?
Okay, we have some specific cases in Latin America concerning the biofuels. The boom or the season where the biofuels were very popular and there were a lot of investment on biofuel production was in 2006. And at that time, for example, Brazil was leading all the biofuel production in all over Latin America. And then we can have, for example, the performance that shows, for example, Argentina concerning the biodiesel. Brazil was the production of Brazil was mainly bioethanol from sugarcane.
Mm-hmm.
And also, for example, Argentina was producing the biodiesel from soy oil. And most of the production of Argentina were exported to France and to some countries from Europe. And Brazil, instead of Argentina, they were producing their biofuels for their own consumption. So they introduced the biofuel as a part of the fuels that we're using all around Brazil. They were, for example, they create a policy on the government of Lula da Silva. They create a policy which leads to the combination of the uses of bioethanol as a mixture with the gasoline, that is the fossil fuel. So they were using most of the bioethanol. They were using it inside Brazil. They were like the biggest examples or cases that we have here in Latin America.
And do you think that we need the most cheap, a lot of technology to produce it, or is more easier to get biofuel?
The technology right now is not cheap, and it's not an easy process either. So because we need to take care of the part that it's related to agriculture on the first place, and then we need to have a process, production process that has a lot of unit operations inside of it that leads to or that can give you, for example, the biofuel. We have a lot of limitations, for example, in small countries, on the purification of the bioethanol, because if you want to mix the bioethanol with gasoline, you need to dehydrate the bioethanol into a way that it's very expensive if you don't have the technology. And in the same way, the biodiesel, you need to purify the biodiesel in order to mix it or to use it as a pure fuel with internal combustion and cars and generation of energy or of electricity or other kinds of energy. So right now it's not as profitable as using, for example, other traditional fuels. So biofuels cannot compete at this time with the prices of the fossil fuels.
Yes,
It's even cheaper.
it's even cheaper. And another question that I have is that from Latin America, which country produce and consume more quantity of biofuel?
Well, the production, as I said before, they were the leaders on biofuels are Brazil and Argentina. Brazil with ethanol, and he consumes most of its production of bioethanol. And Argentina, they have a mixture. They just right now by 2015, they were exporting to France like 50% of the biodiesel that they were producing, and were incorporating the biodiesel, the rest of the biodiesel, into their own country. But we also have another examples. For example, another cases. For example, Guatemala, they have a very interesting production of bioethanol, and but they are exporting most of it. They're not consuming the bioethanol. They just export all of the bioethanol they are producing.
Okay. And from the benefits, which benefits can we get from the replace of biodiesel from fossil fuels if we can do it? Just if we can do it.
Okay, the first benefit is the one that is associated or related to the uses of renewable energy. They are renewables, so we can have availability of this kind of fuel in the future.
Yeah.
Instead of, for example, when you're using fossil fuels, you know that there is a time where you're not going to have any more. So if you're not thinking about this bridge that will connect the present with the future generation, and that the future generations can have the same amount of energy that we have right now, and then you have an unsustainable situation. So first advantage is, for example, related to sustainability. Okay, this is for example the model that you have an energetic model that you can sustain all over the time or during the time. Okay. And the other way, and the other part is, for example, that there are some advantages when you are changing this kind of fuels or the mixture of it into an engine. For example, you have a cleaner combustion, less emissions, a better performance on the engine. So it's important, and they have a lot of advantages.
I can have a part of fossil fuels and a part of biodiesel in the same engine.
In the same engine.
Okay, that's important. Okay, another question, and this I mean is the most important. Do you think that it's important to be worried about the contamination, environmental contamination from these countries, third world countries that are not deserted?
Okay, when we talk about pollution, pollution in any way will threaten our development as a country. Of course, because it will deploy or it will damage all of our resources, and we are completely our development is based on our resources. So if our resources are damaged by pollution, so then we'll not have any kind of resources for development, for our economic development in our country. So, of course, when we are talking about, for example, the uses of fossil fuel, we're talking about definitely with climate change, and with climate change, we're going to have a lot of problems concerning to this problem that it's, for example, the droughts, or the climate, for example, phenomena that they're affecting our production systems. So, of course, if we are not thinking about a way that we can make a change on the environment or make a change, for example, on these these main pollutants that we're given to the atmosphere, that are, for example, produced by fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So then we're going to have a lot of problems from the next 50 years, and this climate change problem, of
So
course.
we need to be worried about the third world countries and first world countries, like
Of course,
the
with
same way.
any kind of pollution. So.
Okay. Which kinds of biofuels can we get from our technology nowadays?
From our technology, okay, we can have, for example, as I told you before, there is, for example, the biodiesel that comes from oils and fats. There is a bioethanol that comes, for example, from the carbohydrates in any way. This is the biomass. And of course we have biogas. Biogas and biomethane that comes from wastes, organic wastes. That could be the mixture of both. Oils, fats, proteins, and some carbohydrates. So we can have this for example, biogas is produced and it's a gas. Is another form, and the other two, the biodiesel and the bioethanol, they're liquids. So they're a mixture of hydrocarbons
Yes.
that gives you energy. So these are the main sources.
And from all these sources, what do you think that is the better? Talking about efficiency.
Into efficiency, I will always think that when you can have the ability to transform a waste into energy, this is the more efficient way, because the waste are something that you are considered that is not useful anymore. And when you transform this waste into something that that there is a need into your production processes. So this is the more efficient way to implement, for example, a biofuel. So I will say the biogas, of course, is the most efficient biofuel.
The most cheaper way, which one is the better?
It depends on the quantity and depends on the amount of biofuel that you want to produce. And if you have, for example, on a large scale, it will give you, for example, a higher profit. There is a less amount per liter of biofuel. But if you're producing small amounts, which is the case that we have in Latin America and most of the countries, so it's too expensive and it's not affordable for most of the people.
Okay. Another question that I have now. If I want to put a gas station here in Latin America and implement biofuels, what do I need to implement it?
You need to have contact with somebody that makes the policy at this country, or for example at any country, because you cannot implement a biofuel specifically to the system that we already have established in our countries without a policy that will give you the support of mixing and of promoting. Any kind of renewable energy needs a policy, something that will give you a legal statement, a legal support to implement this kind of technology. So this is why this is the reason that some places, for example, in Brazil, they do have a policy. The government were committed to implement biofuels into their energetic matrix. So they were pushing this procedure and the uses of the biofuel because they do have a policy and a legal statement that says you are going to mix and you are going to use 20% of the bioethanol will be mixed with gasoline. And this is something that is under the law.
Yeah.
You know, it's covered by law, by a policy, by the government. So this is the better way if you want to promote.
Okay. Now, from all the kinds of renewable energies, do you think that the biofuel is the most important, more efficient, have a better future?
No, I don't think that is the most important, but it's complementary. When you're talking about renewable energy, you need to you need to give the kind of energy that the population is demanding, is requiring. Um, so I say that it could help to look for a better or for a sustainable energetic model, but it's not the only way and it's not the most important. I think that they can be mixed in order to have a better um, a better environment and a better, for example, way to get the energy in the future.
Okay, so now talking about all of this, there exist some disadvantages about the production of biofuel in some countries, like monocultures or something like emissions, environmental problems, or economic, social.
Okay, disadvantages. For example, if you make an accounting of all the emissions that are produced during the agriculture or the production of the biomass that we need, for example, for the production of a biofuel, and then you are including the emissions that are produced during the production process, then you will have even a very important impact on its production. So it's not like a clean energy, you know? It's something that will give you it's something that will give you sustainability, but it's not a clean energy, okay? Because of all the impacts and emissions that are produced during the process of getting the biofuel, okay? So I think that, and also, of course, we're not able to supply all the demand of fossil fuel that we already have in the world. We need like 2 more planets just for biomass in order to have and to give the amount of petroleum on the same way, for example, biofuels instead of petroleum to give the supply of the entire world. So we're not able.
Which percentage of the demand of fossil fuels we can replace for?
I don't have a number. I think that it depends on the country, and maybe you will get some. I don't know, maybe some 25%, maybe.
Maybe.
I will say, but I don't have the numbers
So
right now.
if we have no petroleum anymore, do you think that we could replace it with biofuels?
Not at all. No. We need a different fuel.
Yeah.
Maybe something related to hydrogen. Yeah. But not with biofuels. Definitely.
Okay. And another disadvantage, like social impact.
Of course, there's a problem with food versus fuel. Okay, and we're looking for food security all around the world, and if we are using the food that comes, for example, from corn, even from soy or palm oil, if we are using it for energy, then we do have something that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, in order to keep or to assure the food security all around the world. So I think